I really feel like tonight is gonna pop the mother off. I'm so excited to talk to you all tonight about invisible labor because, as you know, I am your ADHD energy strategist. I am literally here to help us all take whatever is robbing our energy in our day and dismantle that programming from our realities and replace it with the kind of intentionality with our energy that helps us actually get shit done in our lives and feel connected to our life experience and not just I feel so passionate about the idea of you being able to live in a life where you're more connected to your energy. So you can connect with the people that you love and feel like you actually want to talk, or you get lit up about the idea of doing something that you love rather than feeling like you're depleted sometimes and you don't know why, or your energy is just inconsistent. So anyway, I'm going to let Sade in. That's what we're talking about tonight. So let's do a little run through of a few things for you guys to have in mind as we're here in this space together. Thank you for being here. So, as you know, Nice Girl Detox, for those of you who've been here before and for those of you who have not, this really is a space for ADHD femmes and folks who know they have ADHD. Maybe they don't know. Maybe they're allies, they're like, sometimes my brain does things and it helps me understand myself and my energy better. This is a space where we celebrate our differences. So anything that makes us unique. Maybe you're someone who shares a
Yeah,
brain with ADHDers in the way of you've experienced trauma in your life, and this
little
is
Craig's
something
there.
that we connect with in terms of how our brains can function and how we can help each other. Maybe you're
Yeah, take
someone
it
with
out
a
of the
chronic
car and
illness
get
and
into his
energy
car.
is something that is really important to you in a way that some of us who don't know your experience can't imagine, maybe you're a person of color in this space and you have generations of trauma that you're able to relate in this space with and help us see. And really, this is about honoring and making space for each other's experiences and in community in an honest way. Because as we all know, if you have ADHD or if you're a woman that exists in the world, that there is this masking that happens. There is this good girl conditioning that we all buy into on some level, maybe not always the same ways, but it infects part of the opportunity we have to live in our wholeness. So we're doing that together, and so I just want to open that up. So no matter what your religion is or how we're meeting with you today, I just really want you to know that you're welcome and that we're excited that you're here. Um, let's move into a couple things to keep in mind with tonight's call. I'm going to take a sip of water because I'm a little jacked up right now. So I want to slow it down here. And tonight, I just want you to be aware of your energy and to settle into some of the things that also may be uncomfortable for you to look at, in your own life. Like, honestly, sometimes the first thing I get is defensive when someone's like, what is a good idea? And so I just want to invite you tonight to slow down just enough to observe things in your life that may feel a little bit overwhelming to consider. Like, oh my God, what am I supposed to do with this information? That's what we're here for. And so the first step really is just like seeing it differently. And you don't have to do anything. So keep that in mind too. I think sometimes we get in these spaces and we feel the pressure to, again, that pressure to exist in ways that aren't how we are naturally existing. So like take time to process this. And then after the call or at any point, we do have community. So on the Facebook page, if you'd like to share, you can do it anonymously or you can do it as you. And anything that occurs to you, this is a really great place to share, because when we hear something and we engage in something, we learn it. But when we process it and share that, we teach, and we know it now. So we went from like, we learned it's a thing I vaguely know, to like, you're putting it in practice, you know. And when you leave this call tonight, I really hope that you'll have these conversations with other women, you know, like asking them about their experience with their brains, you know, like how fun is it when you're in a space where someone asks you a question about who you are and how you exist, where you really feel seen, you know, like go and infuse your communities. Please, you know, and because that's how I learn things, you know, like is my sisters who've shared with me. So I just really encourage you to do that tonight. So with that said, you don't have to, oh my God, Leila's here. She said she wouldn't be. I'm so excited. If you want to share tonight, you can. If you don't want to share it, that's also okay. There's no pressure. Some of the things we're going to be sharing around, I'm going to touch on invisible labor, and then I'm going to just ask you to chat with me and with your other sisters. So every month, we're doing monthly reflections. So tonight, you can share on literally anything. Tonight, we have prompts for you. So if you want to like share around some of these areas, I always love doing a little check in on what you're working on right now in your life. Like what matters to you? What are you? It doesn't have to be personal. It can be work. It can be whatever. You know, maybe it's a relationship thing. Maybe you're like really focusing on being intentional with a person this month. What are you calling in? So, what do you want for the new month ahead? We have a new moon coming here in just a minute. I mean, like, this is the kind of energy to like call into your life what you want and then tell people in the call, you know, because if you share it, now it's real. It goes from not existing, only in your mind, things you don't share. Like, say it. Let's be bold. Let's be loud. Let's like say what we want, you know? Or write it down later in your journal. Don't tell anybody, but that's okay too. You're like putting it in the world, right? What are you releasing from the last month? So, like this last month, what are you like, okay, you know what shit I'm not taking forward with me in this next moment in my life? This thing. So if you want to share around that tonight. How do you feel like you've grown this month? Like give yourselves some credit. Let's celebrate this month. Like what do you care about this month? What are you like, yes, this is the life I want kind of thing. Or relationships I love kind of thing. And then also, how has sisterhood held you this month in whatever way, whatever space? It doesn't have to be here. So tonight we're talking about invisible labor. This is the labor that you do in your life, like the things that you do, the things that are unspoken and unsaid, but what you've been conditioned to carry, you know, who profits from your overfunctioning. So we're going to talk a little bit about that tonight. I want to share some stats with you. When you think about invisible labor, it's that additional, especially if you have ADHD, it's that additional charge on your brain in terms of energy. It costs, it's a debit out the door, every single thing that you do in your life. And what's wild is this: women spend 4.5 hours a day on unpaid domestic work versus men at 2.8 hours. In some places, women do up to 5 times more of unpaid care work, so like care in the home work, than men. I'm not saying this so that we're like fighting with, you know, anybody specifically. I just want to say it because these are things that are true. And how do you, I'm trying to do my chat, guys. Sorry, I just realized that it wasn't up. So thank you, Sade. Yes, yes, I'm glad that you agree. Um, so when you think about work, that's like you taking notes in the meetings because it's just easier and no one takes good notes but you know, or like you're the one who signs up to do all the things, all the additional, if someone new starts, no one's paying you to help with the onboarding packet, but you're like making sure they feel safe and good, you know. At home, it's you keeping track of all the little things. It's maybe it's kids medications, maybe it's like, you know, I keep, you don't want all the things I keep up with, you know, the shit that when you're with your friends, you're like, this is what I resent about what I got to do, because I don't just got to do my work. I have to do this work and this work. And when I'm at work, I'm also taking on these things that no one asked me to do. Um, and what's wild is, and then I'll stop talking because I know I've been talking a lot. And I want you to take it from here. So take it from here. Um, Women are more likely to take on non-promotable work than men. And no raises, no promotions. It's the idea of like you're being really helpful. And why I talk about it, especially in this community, is because it's a little dangerous for a neurodivergent person because you want to be chosen and it feels really good. And there's all kinds of conditioning that keep you in that space that also feels good because it profits off of you feeling valuable for how you contribute to the relationships in your life. Okay, that's all I want to say. I would like to know who wants to share anything at all. I'm ready to chat. Just put your name in the chat box and I'll go in order, okay? Take your time, but also just do it. Let's chat. If you're feeling like, oh, do I do it? Then you should totally chat with me. You guys are just here for the Mo show tonight, and you're in luck. No, I'm just kidding. Hey, Jess. Okay, so Jessica's gonna chat. Bree, I'm gonna pop you off the spotlight, and Jessica, I'm gonna pop you on. So it's us. Hey, what's
I'm
coming
like,
up for you tonight,
I'm
girl?
like, I gotta flip back to view it. It was suddenly just my face on the screen. I'm like, no, I like to see everyone. Um,
Okay, good. Yeah, yeah.
yeah. So, I had a couple things come up, like just listening to the different prompts, and um, I was really proud of myself because, real quick background. I was a stay-at-home mom for 10 years, became a realtor. My husband and I separated and I moved out a year ago. And the kids live full-time with him. We are very much co-parents. It's a really actually healthy situation, as nice as it can be. But their house was being uh, inspected by the property manager. He said, I'm coming in. It was like a week. I want to take pictures. We've been there 2 years. Like I get it. Great. Just documenting. Um, but the house needed some work done, like some cleanup and some of this and some of that. And um, Nick reached out to me asking for help, um, so that it could get done because in the midst of all this, our foster daughter died 2 weeks ago. So he had all of that going on too. Absolutely. I was so glad he asked me for help. But in the past, when stuff like this has come up, I end up being the one to do everything.
Mm-hmm.
And there's already been times in the last year where I went over and I deep cleaned the kids' bathroom because it wasn't done. And I did the windows partially because I wanted to, but also, anyway, long story short, I'm unmedicated, clearly.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, Long story short is that I said, I can help you, but I cannot do it all. I am available to help these days for these times. Um, and I held to that,
Mm.
and he didn't bristle up against it. He was like, no, absolutely, I'm not, I'm off, so I'm gonna be doing stuff, but I need help with this portion. And so I was just really proud of myself because my initial thought was like, I don't want to do that, like that's not my house, it's not my responsibility. But then I was like, no, I can. And here's my boundaries around what I can. And so that was really, really fun. Um, and then the other one was just I am working with a couple of different groups of partners starting. We're really focused on 3 different businesses right now. And we're at the point where we're talking to investors, getting money brought in. And what I do is largely unmeasurable. I'm the vibes. I make sure things are running smoothly. I point out problems before they happen. I'm kind of like in the crow's nest watching everything. And I actually worked with GPT to help me be able to conceptualize, to communicate to these middle-aged men what I do, because I don't do anything with sales. I don't There isn't awards for what I do. It's not measurable. It's not. When you said unpromotable, my thought was like showing, hey, this is what I've done. Like I'm promoting myself, not like getting a promotion. And so I'm like, yeah, that's the
Mhm.
thing is what I do is I can't bring you matrices and indices of showing, hey, I worked with this company and I helped their company culture become better and this upped their productivity by 15%. I don't have that. And
Yeah.
so I was like, I really I had to soak in and own, okay, what I do is incredibly valuable. It's worthy of compensation, and I am extremely good at it. Um, so I don't know. It's kind of fun. I feel like I am making a career out of the invisible work.
Girl, you're crushing it. I
Yeah.
would love, okay, first of all, I'm gonna love bomb your little head off for just a second. And then also, if anyone wants to chat in on this, we have some literally brilliant people in this call tonight. I would love for you guys to chat with Jessica too. And like, what do you think? Like, what comes up for you when you listen? So when I listen to you tonight, this is what I hear that I think is so great. So with Nick, what you had was a belief that, you know, it was just easier if you would do it, kind of. That's kind of where it
Mhm.
was at. It's
Yeah.
like, it's just easier, right? So it was like this belief that that is the case, number one. And then also the idea that, I'm going to add myself to the spotlight here. Um, the idea that, there was some belief, that was a false belief that you might not be met, right? That's what I
Mhm.
was picking up on. And what you did was you shared vulnerably. You were clear about it with boundaries. So something that's really great with basically what you did was make the invisible labor visible. And there is a little bit of an adjustment to that, right? Like,
Yeah.
okay, well, what do I actually want to do? You checked in with yourself. So you slowed down, you checked in with, what do I need? Okay, who do I need to talk to about this, But then it's like, what do I need to ask? And you were very specific with it. You talked about, yes, Sade.
Yeah.
You talked about what it was in a very specific way. And that's how it has to be done. Because so much with invisible labor, the reason it keeps going invisible, especially when you have conversations, is that and by the way, Jessica, you didn't do this. When you have these conversations, it's not specific. It's more like, I just need help. Well, look around. You know what I mean? And so guess what
Yes.
else? Like if you have another person in your household who needs structure or it won't get done, they need to know. It really helps to be able to be like, okay, but also we're getting clear on what you're accepting and how often you're going to do it and what it's going to look like when it's done. And that's what you
Mhm.
did, Jessica.
Yeah.
It's
Yes.
amazing. And you found out what? Like as a result, like what like how did your heart how did your body feel when this conversation was received and a new agreement was
Uh,
made?
I was so relieved. I was I mostly I was relieved. Second, I was pretty proud of myself because I was like, hey, like I managed that really well. And then
Mhm.
third, I had doubt, like, well, now we'll see.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Can I share something with you, Jessica, that
Yes.
may be helpful?
Yes.
Because this is the phase, right? This is the phase. Okay, I did the big thing. Ugh, I asked, like, I need help, and this is what I need, and this is how. Oh my God, you agree? Wow, I've been carrying this shit around forever. This is nice to let the load off, you know?
Mm-hmm.
And so now you're in the phase of, okay, what's going to happen? Are they going to do it? And guess what happens sometimes when you're the person who's carried it around forever? You ask someone and they go back to their old ways where they didn't do it.
Mm-hmm.
And part of it is because they're also out of practice. You really are all almost like if you think about a neural pathway, it's formed so strong. You know, the idea that you're
Mm-hmm.
handling everything, it that's the practice, that's the pattern of practice that they have. Your
Mm-hmm.
pattern of practice is also new, not doing it. So if you
Mm-hmm.
see it being imperfectly done, if you see it getting missed, don't look, and I don't really just say this to you, I just say like generally I think something good for us to know is that we don't go pick it up and save it, you know? Hey, we
And
talked about this, you know,
and that
and
part
not
was
in a way
really
of like we're
hard.
fighting about it, but like, oh, hey, I know this is a new pattern we're building together, and thank you for doing it. I'm really excited. This was one of your nights, you know, so
Yeah.
assume this person wants to meet you also to avoid a fight.
Yeah.
You and Nick communicate really well, though,
Yeah.
so I think that that's a little different in your case.
Yeah. And it was really uh scary because I'm like, if he doesn't do it, they could potentially have to move and
Yeah.
get kicked out.
Hmm.
And I just like I had to let it go and be like, hey, you communicated and said this
Hmm.
is what you can do. If he needed additional help, he could have either asked or asked someone else.
Hmm.
Um, but he got it all done.
That's amazing.
Our oldest stayed up a little late with him the night before, getting the rest of everything done. But I'm like, but she lives there and
Yeah.
she's almost 13. She can do that.
Heck yeah.
And
Yes, look at you letting go of invisible labor right and left. Like
yeah,
everybody help.
yeah. And everything turned out just fine.
That's
Everything was great.
amazing.
He has to clean the garage now, which he should have been done like 2 years ago. So
Yeah, yeah, we all
I'm
have
like,
something that we need to get rid of. Also, little shout out to releasing things this month.
yeah,
We need to release some things from the garage.
yes.
Jessica, I just love, I also love that you say you're making a career out of it. And I'll just say this too, like, you know, something we don't know how your job is measured, but
Hmm.
also we have some brilliant tech brains on this call right now. I wonder if there's some kind of tool that helps you like put in, I feel like there's got to be some AI that exists that's like, okay, if I put in my job and just say like these are the things I do all the time. How could I come up with like a job description and a
Mm,
pay range? You know what I mean? Like everything's measurable.
yeah,
I just don't know how, but like maybe
yeah,
we can get some hot tips from our tech queens.
yeah,
Um,
definitely. Well, and I, if, ugh, my mother really liked Star Trek: The Next Generation. So
mhm.
if like you've watched that or familiar with it, Deanna
Yeah,
Troy is the counselor, and she's like number three in command of the ship. And I'm like, that's me. That's what I do.
yeah.
Exactly what she does is what I
Way
do.
to value yourself. Yes.
Yeah.
Hey, everybody, let's tell Jessica how valuable she is just so she never forgets. You're worth more. You know what? Everybody on this call tonight, when's the last time you asked for a raise? I'm just going to wait. And if you haven't, you know, maybe it's you need to be paid more. Everybody on this call, you need to be paid more. I don't even care.
Yes.
We don't even have to, you don't have to convince me. Um, so Jessica, we have someone who says Chat GPT or
Yeah.
Claude. So Sade, or
Hmm.
Sade. Why do I say? I'm reading it, so I say your name wrong. I'm so sorry, Sade. It's all about the format of the prompts we put in. So, and you are a good prompt engineering queen, I feel. And then Leela says everything is measurable. If you have a large
Yeah.
network, that is data. Yes, yes, yes,
Yeah.
yes. So, couple of little hot tips, but maybe that could be fun. Do you think you'd want to do that? Do you think you're going to measure it, or is this something you're like, no, I'm just going to ask for more and nobody's going to question me. Where are you at?
Uh, so, like, you mean for me?
Yeah, what do you think
Yeah.
next? Do you think you want to like find a way to measure it?
Uh, well, I'm part owner in the company, so I get to set my salary. So,
Okay, well, nobody's in
there's
the
that.
way from you and
Yeah.
okay, well
Um,
you get to do what you want then, girl.
yeah, but I do have to justify it with the other owners.
Okay,
I'm not
gotcha,
sole
gotcha.
owner. Um, so it's like I do have to prove my value. Um, luckily one of them, well, they already know, like they've seen in one of them, they already know and they've seen. The other
Yeah,
ones, we're not to those talks yet. I think there's
gotcha.
still a little bit of unclarity around
Yeah,
what I'm doing there.
yeah.
Because these guys, like I'm not kidding you. One of the companies, one guy has worked with the Pentagon, one guy has done he got laws enacted for environmental stuff.
Wow.
Um, another is like a really successful banker, like
Yeah,
people who have done significant things.
yeah.
And I'm like, I can tell you if someone's having a bad day, or I can tell you if
Yeah.
someone doesn't like what you're saying. Like that's what I can do.
Well, can I just remind you of something? I happen to know your history and you come from very big, very amazing things. I think it's time to revisit the like, okay, here in this place, we're still figuring out what I do. But let me
Yeah.
remind you who I am and what I have done. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? Because I know your work, your body of work and what you have done.
Yeah.
I think you're very impressive.
Thank you.
So
Yeah.
remember all of that, girl.
Yes, and I like I am at the point now where I am starting to feel very confident in that.
Yeah. Good.
And I realize I'm like I can pioneer mm, this path
Yeah.
um to show companies like when down the line I end up consulting because I know that
Mhm.
that is a thing I'm going to do.
Yeah.
Um, when I'm doing the consulting, I can uh, say, hey, like this is really important. So, and I
You
just
have the
remind
lived
myself,
experience.
I'm like 6 years ago, being an influencer was a joke. And
Yeah.
now it's a very legitimate way
Yeah.
to earn a living. And I'm like, being the vibes girl.
Yes.
is
Honestly.
yeah.
Honestly. Well, we're here for that. We
Well,
just
and
have
I think that having that company where the company's culture
hmm
uh and job place satisfaction is going to become so important, especially
Yeah.
as Gen Z and Gen Alpha come up because they
Yeah.
want if they have to go, they want to be able to enjoy it.
Yeah.
And if they want employees to stay connected and stay uh work overtime and work like boomers did, then they're
Yeah.
gonna have to provide a place people want to be and want to do
Yeah.
that. So,
I have to say, I am a huge fan of Gen Z because I really I know that a lot of people complain, but I'm like, they're literally saying how we've all been feeling.
yes,
Jessica, thank you so much for
yes,
sharing tonight. I
absolutely.
love seeing your face here tonight. I wish I
Good.
could just eat
Yeah, I
sweet
know.
cheeks. Well, thank
I
you
know.
for coming, and I'm so sorry for your last couple of weeks too. And I just
Yeah,
really know that the way that you're showing up in life for yourself too, with all of this, and especially when you think about your energy, you're showing up very intentionally for yourself, and it shows. And I celebrate you.
thank you.
So I'm gonna pop you up the spotlight.
Okay.
And I'm going to do a call for anyone who would like to share tonight. While I'm waiting, I want to share a couple of stats that I love stats here and there because I just feel like it blows me away when I think about the numbers because I have dyscalculia and I hate math. And so I don't look at numbers intentionally all the time, but when I do, I'm always like, wow, that's good to know. Just comment in the chat if you would like to just chat, just your name, or if you want to add something in, you can. So a couple other little stats I thought were really super interesting. So earlier, when we were talking about the unpaid labor and how literally, so this is the fact, at work, women lose 200 plus hours a year to that non-promotable work, like taking office mom duties. So that's wild, that number. Leela, I am going to pop right on and chat with you. I am so glad you're here.
Me
Globally,
too.
women perform 75% of unpaid care work, which is worth trillions. So, Jessica, my girl, when you're talking about how it's hard to quantify your work, there's a reason it's hard to quantify your work. It's not really been, isn't it wild that it's not in any job description? And yet, there are trillions of dollars in that stuff we can't figure out how to calculate and don't think is worth. It's just really not that I mean, like, what is it? It's like the burden is on you to prove it's valuable, but it's clearly definable. It just hasn't been prioritized. Do you know what I mean? So, like, that's also why we're talking about it tonight. It's like, oh my God, it's worth trillions, 75% of unpaid care work. Um, so including unpaid labor. The gender pay gap in richer countries literally jumps to like 40 or 50%. So I think that's really wild. And especially when you think about like fatigue and energy management for an ADHD, or especially when things that are maybe not as costly to a neurotypical person cost you twice as much because of the way our brains function. Or if you're a person who's experienced trauma, which is pretty common. Um, Same idea. It's living everyday life sometimes is not what is considered normal. So your energy can just get zapped. So like any additional thing you pick up, it's costing you too much. That's all I want to say. Okay, Leela, I'm so excited to see your pretty
I'm
face. Let me
excited
put
to
you on the
see yours.
spotlight.
How are you?
I'm so
I'm
good. How
well.
are you?
I'm fantastic, always blessed. Yeah, I love this topic because I'm a corporate girly by heart.
Mhm.
So understanding the differences of what you want to do and what you need to do doesn't always come to fruition, especially when we're working, right? Like we have jobs to get paid, and sometimes we're just not happy. But my last company, I was at that burnout stage, and I think you and I had discussed it around
Mhm.
my birthday in January. And I was like, I don't know what I'm supposed to do. I feel like people are wearing my t-shirts. And I think I shared with you that t-shirt analogy where I'm just like, oh, my
Yeah.
clothes aren't fitting, as in like metaphorically, right? Like everyone
Hmm.
is doing what I need to do, or I've outgrown my t-shirts, right? Like to where they're not even supposed to be in my closet anymore. And so
Yeah.
I applied for a new job, and it was a couple roles ahead of mine. And I was like, let me just see what happens, right? And I went through 10 interviews. I ended up getting the position. And, of course, we counter because women don't counter enough. So of course we countered,
Oh
right?
my God, I love that.
Yeah. And
Get it, girl.
I landed on the salary that I wanted. And I think that, I think for women, we get to that point where it's just like, oh, I'm so frustrated. I'm so burnt out. It's almost to like the end of the rope before we leave,
Yeah.
compared to whenever you see the first sign, right? Or you
Hmm.
see that first moment. And I read this quote today and I was like, oh, I'm so glad I'm coming to this tonight. And
Yes.
it shared, don't worry if they don't like you, as long as you as long as you don't feel like you're changing whenever you have to be around them. And I just
Mm.
really like took a step back and I was like, man, all the times that I left late in my life, of whatever that looked like, right?
Oh my God,
Or,
yes.
yeah, I felt like I was just so it was just so laborious of just like trying to function, whether
Yeah.
that was, professional or personal. Like, yeah, I was so worried about this person enjoying me or promoting me or liking them, but like, am I myself when I'm around this person or this entity,
Yeah.
this corporation, right? And I will say, whenever I was interviewing for this job, and mind you, I had 10 interviews, which is wild, but we're in 2025.
Hmm.
I told my husband, like, I'm not even prepping for the job. Like, I'm not doing research. I'm walking in there with my personality. If they don't like me, I'm just not
Oh
supposed
my
to be
God, that's
there. And
amazing.
that's it. Like, I'm not gonna code switch. I'm not gonna be a different person on day one than I was on the interview because that's just so much effort keeping up with, right? Um,
Mm.
so yeah, just wanted to share that little praise report.
Oh my God, that was so good. Thank you for doing what you did for a lot of reasons. Number one, hearing that gets me feeling very gutsy. You know what I mean? I'm like, yeah,
Mhm.
what else we're gonna do? So thank you for that like burst of energy that you just like shot through Zoom at me. I'm really feeling it. I love that you did it because it really inspires me, but also the idea that when you do those things too, like I feel like it just like sends a ripple
Yeah.
through time, you know, that's like you made a different choice when
Hmm.
so many of us have had moments we didn't, you know, we also have all take some time to celebrate every moment that you have because we know that
Absolutely.
we show up for ourselves, you know, and that version of you that shows up is the freaking beacon for that version of you that has doubt in the future. Like, no, I know how to show up for myself. I've done it. This is what it
Yeah.
looks like.
Yeah.
You're literally like what you're doing is like real lighthouse moment for a lot of people. Like this is what it can look like. You know, you got to make your
Mhm.
own decisions and your light can look however you want it to look, but like you have it too. And this is like these moments when I hear things like this, it reminds me like if you think about the world of like, you know, I like to imagine that there's a lot of people that are asleep, you know,
Mhm.
and that when you live in ways like you are living and choosing yourself in ways that you're choosing, you make a different choice that like unplugs the person who's next to you in the matrix. You know what I mean? They're like, "Oh my God, you can do something different." It's like that movie Divergent when someone steps out of the line, you know, it's like somebody step out of the freaking line. Do it different,
Yeah.
make a different choice to show us that we can. You know,
Yeah.
I don't know why we didn't think that we did, but for whatever
Yeah.
reason, I got lost, you know?
Yeah.
Um, what you did is really huge, and I'm so excited for you.
Thanks. Yeah, I mean, I'm just again just super blessed that I'm in this position. Like I will always I'm very cognizant of my privilege and being a part of a community that continues to uplift me, both being, women, being a woman, and then also like a community of minorities. But yeah, like randomly again, scrolling through Instagram, I don't know if you all follow that guy named Leo. He's bald. I think he's from New York. But anyway, one day he was like, there's enough rainbows, like be a storm. Like if you were born to
Oh
be a
my God, I
storm,
love
do
that.
that. And I was like, yes. Like Jessica, I love you. You're probably like the best little rainbow with every single color, but I am your counterpart. I am your storm. And I think that we can work together and make, beautiful weather, right? But yeah, like
Yeah.
it's so important to just lean into exactly who you're supposed to be, and that's okay.
Yeah. Well, you
Hmm.
know what? It's cool because also I'll say this much, you know, like what you say about the storm, so many of us are uncomfortable with those emotions, those ways of showing up. We have a
Hmm.
lot of definitions for what it means. Who told
Yeah.
us that? Why do we believe that a woman who's standing in her power is acting full of herself? Or, you know what I mean? Like, so I think that or you're judging. You know, this sisterhood is also for like calling out the ways that we can show up in community where we distort the opportunity that exists for us. You know what I mean? That's how
Absolutely.
it happens. That's like when you want to unplug from the matrix, it's like seeing it through that lens of
Hmm.
why have I not believed this before? Oh, because I was told this. Maybe the
Yeah.
definition was like what you said, the idea that people pleasing or being a version of yourself that was you know, the good girl. I mean, that's the vibe. It's like the good girl conditioning. Like you
Yeah.
are performing what you believe is, you know, what you need to be acceptable, which we all do. And turns out that doesn't really get you anywhere.
Yeah.
It's like, no, sometimes you got to be the storm. The good
Yeah.
girl is only one aspect of who you are. You got to embrace your wholeness before other people can, which is what you did.
Exactly.
And it
Yeah.
comes with that rage part, you know, that
Yeah.
part that
Yeah.
demands.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. But I just, again, I appreciate you, Mo, just having this community just for us all to be vulnerable. I genuinely look forward to these every month and just hearing everyone's stories. So I appreciate you so much.
Hey, I appreciate you and thank you for sharing too. You know, you shared. Do you care if I do a little check-in with
No,
you
go ahead.
on your
Yeah.
last? Do you,
Yeah.
so last month you shared the idea of really claiming back your energy because
Mm,
you're like, I really put a lot of energy out to other people, and
mhm,
I'm realizing that even when I'm depleted, you know, I give, and so then when I am like, I need to receive now, I'm on low, you know, you're not
mhm.
being met with that. So would you want to share a little update? I know you like feel like
Yeah.
you shared with me anyway, if you want to share.
Yeah, I'm much better now. One, having friends that you can vent to about the same situation like 10 different times, and then that is a gem that we don't talk about enough. And then two, like the I'm being funny, but like touch grass, you know? Like after I
Yeah.
realized the situation, I went to Mexico for work, and then the next week I went to Arizona. And that
Mhm.
situation or situations seemed so small. Like being in a different environment, being so far away from it, just understanding like, man, I was just drowning in complacency. So the situation felt a little bit bigger than what it really needed to. But when I stepped away, I was like, man, that was just a blip of a day that didn't even really needed to, be talked about, right? And then
Yeah.
I also made decisions to step back from things that were overworking me or putting me in a position that wasn't reciprocating my energy. And I had those conversations with companies or people, what have you. And I said, hey, I did all of this. Like I'm Jessica, I'm very data driven. That's why I said everything is measurable. So I literally put out in bullet points like, hey, this is everything that I've done, and that's why my feelings equate to this. Do you have a different version of this story? Because if you do, I'd love to hear it. And actually, I think writing it all down and sending it to this person, they were so receptive and said, "Oh man, like I had no idea you felt this way, but I also understand why you feel like you've been treated this way because again, everything is measurable." So, yeah, like that person was just so apologetic, and it was just a really nice conversation, and we met in good terms, and we came to a compromise. And again, just understanding like you can be the storm, but I think you have to articulate what you're actually wanting as well. Like I don't fear being direct, but I think that I was just trying to tippy toe to make sure emotions weren't at the forefront, that I was forgetting like, hey girl, you need to actually say what you feel,
Hmm.
you know. But yeah,
Hmm.
everything's great now.
Oh my gosh, it's so amazing how you handled that.
Yeah.
Oh
Yeah.
my gosh, I love that. And I also love that there's a part of you that like being direct is really natural and relaxed for you, and
Mhm.
realizing that the version of you that's like, okay, I'm realizing I'm tiptoeing and it's costing me.
Mhm.
which is cool because you have access to this version of you like, okay, I know how to be direct, and okay, I've
Mhm.
thought through this, and it's just beautiful how you process through that. Thank you for
Yeah.
giving us an update and for sharing.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, thanks for letting me share it last month and like walking me through what all the possibilities were. So I appreciate
Oh
it.
my gosh, you had it handled, girl. Like it was already done. That version of you, like it saw the you of today and it called you to it.
Thanks, Mel.
Thank you so much, Leela. It's so good to see you.
Yeah.
So I'm gonna pop you up the spotlight. I just love so much that you shared, both of you, Jessica and Leela. And Sade knows how to keep it alive in the comments. So I love that. She said environment shifts will shrink those blips real quick. I don't remember, dang it, I'm too late to read it, but I don't remember what it was about. I'm sure that it was something that Leela was saying about, how she's handling things in her life. And like literally, I didn't ask you this question, but I'm wondering if you want to share in the comments. Um, Energetically, how do you feel this month calling back? Because like when we think about energy, that's your power, like you're charging, that's your energy to like show up in life, and I wonder what your energy looks like. I just want to remind everybody, we have some questions tonight that I would love to just, we've had some people pop on. If you want to share, I would love to chat with you about, of course, anything related to invisible labor. If something is like becoming clear to you, or maybe you're like, oh, I have a story or whatever, it doesn't matter. Like maybe you're an expert in this, and I'll just let you have the floor. Um, I also want to ask you around like what's going on for you. So what you're calling in right now, like what you're working on, what you care about, work, home, wherever. What are you calling in for the new month? Like I said, it's like really good energy right now. We're about to be in September. There's a new moon kind of vibe happening. So, like, the energy is like shifting around us. It's a really good time to call in what you want and just get intentional. What are you releasing from the last month? So, that's the idea of like, I am not carrying this thing with me forward. And even if I don't know how I'm going to do it yet, I've decided right now that that's my priority. I'm not calling this into my life anymore. So from today on, or I'm going to play around with this. This is what I'm thinking. Um, how are you feeling growth in your life? Like Leela shared, that's growth in your life. Let's celebrate it. The things that you are noticing have shifted in you that you are glad about. So how have you grown in the last month? And then also opening the floor too. How do you need support right now? We are in sisterhood with women all over the place. By the way, we're in 17 countries. There are 17 countries represented within Nice Girl Detox. And I just think that's very cool. So we literally in all kinds of different industries. So like, what do you need this month? What kind of support, even if you just share it out loud, it calls it into your life. It makes it where it can be true. That's the idea of like whatever you want to exist in the world, put it in the world. So, what kind of support do you need? This is part of it. This is like part of me dismantling some of this conditioning is me saying, you know what? I need help. It's hard to ask for help. We've been trained not to. Sade wants to chat. And then also, how has sisterhood held you? So if that brings up anything for you, let me know. So Sade, I'm going to put you on the spotlight. And thank you for being patient with me, everyone, while I do that. Or if you just want to chat, you can too. So I asked you to start the video.
Okay.
Oh, there you are. I see you popping up.
Yeah, sorry guys. My camera's gonna be off because
That's okay.
and I didn't mean to have this as background, but it's there.
Okay.
Um,
I love it. Shout out Tech Besties.
yeah, all right. Yes, Lily, yes. So I know us as women can relate where we are able to crank out workflows, make things happen, still show up for our loved ones or our colleagues or whatnot. This is gonna sound really frank, but while it can feel like your uterus is falling. So that's
Hmm.
what I'm experiencing this week.
Mm,
Um, and I'm actually proud of myself because I temper myself. I'm a big believer in emotional regulation, regardless of how I feel, or if I feel my cup is empty, or if I feel depleted or whatnot. I've been there, done that as far as lack of reciprocation or from those who don't understand that pain or experience for obvious reasons. But I guess as far as the sisterhood, I had an executive coaching session early this week and realized that it's vulnerable for me to say, but I need support in saying no because I'm so passionate about things often, and I know a lot of us can relate to this group. I often am misused due to that passion or energy, abundance of energy that I naturally have, and I often have fun doing. But uh, I was really proud of myself because I was vocal during that session of like, okay, let's come up with five things that 5 methods I'm going to do day to day, week to week to just say no or try not to add more to my plate or what can activate in me where I'm like, okay, this is sitting here, no one's doing anything. Somebody has to do it. I don't know if anyone here can speak to having the eldest daughter experience. Apparently, that's super common, and we need all the support groups. If in fact, we need a whole organization. But it's just something we often do in default. And I did get pride from being able to step up and show up in that way and patting myself on the back concerning that. However, it's just not sustainable. Um, I know we spoke to, and you've spoke to many times about energy management, honoring your personal cycles, which, I affirmed that last month, calling abundance, and I'm definitely getting it. I'm getting it, and I'm grateful for that. Just trying to pace myself with it. And listening to my own personal body dashboard. And I'm like, you know what? No, 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 no. I'll be offering no as a service for the remainder of this week. Uh,
Mhm.
and I have been getting support from that, but I think it's important to call that out. Because even when I say I'm doing it and I'm kind of doing it, I think we can kind of remix it to the point where we're like, yeah, but I'm gonna kind of help here. Like, or still kind of nudge and open that space back up again. Um, so that's one thing. I know you kept mentioning the new moon is about to show up. I think it's Saturday this week. And a video I just saw speaking to that about writing something down, whatever it is, however you want to write it, and speaking and calling exactly what you want without filter, adjusting your crown and solidifying how you want to show up in service. I feel like I'm already on the path of that. So I'll continue on to do that. But it's really about, okay, if I'm at a buffet and I got my plate starting to feel heavy, what do I need to take off this plate? Or at least what am I looking at that I just don't have to add to the plate I already have? So,
Yeah, that is so I love that you immediately put it into practice because literally like you that's kind of how you have to do it. It's like, okay, how do I do this now? Not just a thing I'm going to say out loud I need to do, but like how can I start no as a service now? And then you literally wrote it down like 5 things right away, which is so awesome because it's getting your brain in the practice of this is what matters to me. This is what I want to put my energy on. I love that. I think it's so awesome. And um, when you think about support for the next month, and how we can send those vibes your way, what do you feel like would be and maybe you don't know right now, but I'm banking it. I'm banking it. So like I'm gonna keep track of this. What feels like support to you?
I think I don't think that necessarily, especially with friendships or connections, that people have to support exactly how I support.
Yeah,
It's
okay.
not about the style that people show up. It's just more the energy. I try to also balance, have a level set of my expectations because I know I have a lot of energy. Even to the point where it can set me off balance. So it's like, okay, I can't expect that from everybody because that's just something that might be unique to me, more unique to me than I think. But it's just about like I don't even expect 100% of a match with that, but even 10, 20. And
Yeah.
I think it was spoken to earlier on this call about okay, we can talk about energy management and we can talk about what we want to align with, but what it's I can't control other people's behavior. I have to consistently maintain my own boundaries and my own standards of what I will and won't do. Um, that's what I feel like. I think is I gain more and feel more power and autonomy over my life when I take accountability for that. Because I feel like, okay, that's the one thing I can do something about is me. Um, so being willing to do that, no matter how much work I've put in or how much, many reasons why women hold on to things
Mhm.
or situations or stay in places only they don't need to stay. It's not always because they're not aware that things or energy or actions aren't reciprocated. It's more, I put in all this work. Why would I walk away now? Or why should, things like that. And being careful about you can let something go and pat yourself on the back concerning that, but it can also transmute into something else, which is a similar version of what you just walked away from, which is really easy for us to do because we're humans and we're infallible. But yeah. So I think in simple examples, I think if I'm calling, because I really am the person to vent, I was normally the strong friend in my circles that I'm no longer a part of. Um, Getting a call back, not immediately, but a check-in, sincere check-in without the obvious distractions of, yeah, like, I think we all can feel the difference between when it's, they're actually concerned versus this is like the checkpoint of, oh, are you okay? Like kind of like a
Yeah.
frame. Then I write back to my stuff. And me trying to grow out of playing the counselor in so many lives, which is a function I did enjoy. So I'm not going to deny that. It's just like I
Yeah.
mentioned before, it's not sustainable. So
Wow. So you just gave me a concept now for like, I really think we got to talk about being the counselor of our friendships at some point because that is such an area it's tough for a neurodivergent person who is like deeply feeling and knows they can support someone if they just pour into them a little bit. And that's the thing about our lives too. And what you really beautifully demonstrated is the idea of, yeah, we're also doing that all over the place, and
mhm,
how you control what you can control is paying attention to your needs
mhm,
and listening to the attunement of that, taking care of it in a way you have been taking care of all kinds of other things, and just being intentional. I'd love to share something that Leela shared. She said, I believe women often default to saying yes unless there's a compelling reason to say no. Sometimes it's about shifting our perspective. What makes this worth saying yes to? That's really good. What makes this worth saying yes for? Um,
mhm.
I would also love to just thank you, Sade, for sharing and also demonstrating in real time, like this is what I've done. That's
Mhm.
worth celebrating. You made some major changes. How's your energy right now? Like since you've made some of these changes?
It's cool. This has been a very hectic week, but it is also something I did technically sign up for. And kind of holding that space or checking in or like I've been advised to before, listen to your body. I think you
Yeah.
mentioned that. Like that's part of my personal dashboard. I asked 3 questions. It's really silly. But a lot of people felt enlightened from that. The check-ins, it's sometimes simple things that are kind of throwing you off or making you feel weird, especially if you're ADHD or neurodivergent. It's one, things we kind of often neglect is did I drink water?
Mm-hmm.
Did I moisturize today? And am I minding my business?
Yeah, I love that.
So it's interesting when I just do those simple things and I'm like, oh, that's why. Okay, I feel a shift.
Yeah,
That
yeah.
just all comes from self-care and unlearning the mode we can get in where we take care of everything outside of ourselves.
Mhm.
And that's just with the basics. So
I love that. And I also really love that you're putting into practice in real time that we have menstrual cycles, or maybe some of us don't, who are entering perimenopause, and our hormones are shifting and things are changing, literally chemistry in our bodies, physical changes in our bodies, or those who have menopause. Like, there are things happening that we're supposed to just be acting like aren't happening because it's not professional. Like, that's such bullshit that we've been conditioned to just like pretend. So like what you're doing is also like such a bright light, such a bright example, and really makes me feel excited because you doing it makes it feel more like I know someone now who does it. I can't say that like I've only heard a myth of a woman who. It's like, no, I know someone who did it, and this is how they did it, and this is what it looks like, so I have a plan. So thank you for sharing tonight. I'm so glad you're here.
thank you so much for holding this space. This is my second nice girl detox circle and really been enjoying it so far, how we're actioning it and how I'm seeing that manifest with some people who are present on this call in their everyday lives. So thanks again, Mo, for inviting me and hosting
Yeah.
this, hold this space.
Thank you. And I say it all the time, but really though, like you're all here tonight. Like, we're so in this together, and you are building this community too. Like, that's part of what community is. Like, I'm gathering us all up, and I'm coming up with some things that I am noticing are valuable to neurodivergent people, ADHDers, women. Like, this is what's really, I'm picking up big downloads here, and like I'm feeling it in the energy of the clients that I coach and in the spaces I exist in. So like we're making shifts, we're like changing things in here like in a big way. So like, but your voice is shaping it, and your contribution. So like, thank you, you're making this a space where we're all really learning, and it makes me get excited about, like, this is really awesome. I'm so glad we're doing this. So thank you so much for being here. I'm gonna pop off here, but I do want to share a couple other things. We do have an invisible labor toolkit that's a podcast that supports everything we talked about here tonight. So like, if you listen to this thing on like 1.75 speed, which is my favorite on your podcast, you'll have this thing done in like 18 minutes. So it's also got like a guide for you to think about this in your life. So you can apply it. I think tonight after this, what will be really cool is if you could commit to observing something different in your life. That's it. Just observing. Nobody's having to do anything. Just like notice, witness your life. Notice, witness these themes in your surroundings. And then if you want to share about it in the Facebook group or with me, I would love to hear it, because again, like, you knowing it is one thing, you sharing it with me, well, now that's data, Lela. That's data. And as we know, data is measurable. And the more we see it, the more we call it out, the more we make the invisible visible, and the more we make changes. So I just love you guys so much. Thank you. If there's any way I can serve you, you know how to reach me. I am here to anything that comes up for you, anything that you feel like is important. It's important to me too, and let's share about it. So um, that's everything for me. We'll see you guys. I'll have this podcast posted Friday, so you'll get to watch it back, and I'll be sharing all the things. You'll get it in the newsletter. And if I don't have your email, let me know if you want to be in the know on everything. Thank you so much. I love you so much, Jessica. And Jessica, I love to see you. Lela, I love to see you. Also, Raven is on the call. We didn't see her tonight, but we're so say hello to Princeton. And Jackie's on the call. Juliet's on the call. My sister Bree, if you guys don't know my sister Bree, she's on the call tonight. These are some of your sisters. So I'm so glad that we got to be in the vibe of you tonight, in the energy. We're all a bunch of vibe girls. And we now know how to charge for our vibe. We know that our energy is expensive. I'm sending you guys so much love. I hope you have an amazing night, and we'll see you on the next call.
Sometimes to be a girl.